Cayman in the Caribbean, sun, sea and sand. Paradise for many and popular with more than 1 million tourists every year. But Paradise has a problem. It is currently under threat of the Chikungunya virus. Chikungunya, caused by the bite of an infected mosquito, originated in Africa and has spread across the tropics, arriving in the Caribbean over a year ago, making many civilians ill and crippling economies. Symptoms include fever, nausea, rash, muscle and joint pain, and in severe cases, death. According to the World Health Organization, there have been over 1 million suspected cases of chikungunya in the Caribbean islands, Latin America and USA alone, and for many people it can be fatal. Currently, there is no vaccine and no cure. Ariana was one of the victims of this disease.
I contracted chikungunya in 2014 at my little sister's birthday party. People came over, so we had the party in the backyard. Around 7 o'clock, all the mosquitoes came out, and that's when I got bit. A couple of days later, I got a fever, and I started developing rashes all over my body. I couldn't make it to school. My hands and feet started to really hurt, and my joints began to swell. I couldn't do basic things like cook or clean. They took me to the hospital where they tested me for chikungunya. They gave me Benadryl and told me to drink lots of water and keep away from the mosquitoes. I don't want anyone else to contract chikungunya and go through what I had to go through.
Here in Grand Cayman, the Mosquito Research and Control Unit are working vigorously to keep the spread of the virus under control. Assistant Director Dr. Alan Wheeler is in charge of this.
Although chikungunya is generally considered not to be fatal, it's important because of its economic impact. It has infection rates up as high as 60%. When you've got 60% of your population coming down with a disease, that affects the economy in a number of different ways. You've got increased healthcare costs, you've got losses to businesses due to its workforce not being able to work. You've also got other economic effects such as loss of tourism, which would be a major impact in the Caribbean and countries such as Jamaica and the Cayman Islands that rely heavily on tourism. So that the economic effects of this disease are really what makes it important.
Whilst the mosquito originated in Africa, it has now spread to the Caribbean, bringing the diseases it carries with it.
Chikungunya is caught from the bite of an infected mosquito, normally Aedes aegypti or Aedes albopictus. The mosquito becomes infected when it bites either an infected person or an infected primate or rodent. After you've been bitten by a mosquito, generally between 3 to 7 days afterwards, you'll start showing symptoms of the disease, and then you're also capable of transmitting the disease. So if a mosquito bites you, it can then become infected and bite someone else.
So the disease can jump from person to person very quickly. At the forefront of this battle is Head of Department Bill, who is in charge of the government agency MRCU, which is responsible for reducing the mosquito populations here in Cayman.
In more recent years, the disease prevention aspects of what we do have become more prominent as we see diseases like dengue and chikungunya spread across the globe.
Their main method of control is monitoring and surveying, where work crews go around on a daily basis and survey everybody's yards on the island, looking for larvae and mosquitoes.
When they find larvae, they'll either treat with chemical or turn. This mosquito generally breeds in and around people's houses. It's called a domestic mosquito, and it breeds in domestic containers such as buckets, discarded garbage.
Once the disease is confirmed as being transmitted on the island, the authorities often focus on controlling the adult mosquito by methods such as thermal fogging, where a huge cloud of smoke, filled with insecticides, targets the mosquitoes. This is run by Leonardo and his team.
How we do it is we select the area that we know that is infested by mosquitoes for Aedes aegypti. We send out a crew of guys that with thermofogging and going house by house. We go into our location. We received a complaint yesterday about a septic tank with a lot of mosquito population and a lot of breeding.
As well as this, the crews also have to put up with a high-pitched noise that can often be heard coming from the fogging machines.
That liquid that we put in the water is to kill the larvae. And now we're going to do thermofogging. How thermofogging works is we put a mix of chemicals inside of it, and she heat it and create a cloud of smoke, and with very, very small drops that can fly all over the place. And you just need one of them to hit a mosquito, and the mosquito will die.
However, fogging is not a permanent solution.
That smoke will kill all the adult population, but we probably have to come back next month and do it again because the design is no good. It's not properly sealed, and mosquito will eventually come back and breed again. Okay. Sample from Dusty's pool. Now I'm going to send it to the lab and for proper identification. And if you see, you can see larvae and pupae.
Where the lab can identify the type of mosquitoes occupying this septic tank.
Fogging is very effective. Sometimes we do inspections prior fogging operation, and then the following day we're going back to those areas and do another inspection again, and we see a reduced.
As well as surveying yards and fogging, staff at the research unit are often seen collecting traps around the island, working to keep track of the mosquito population. This work is carried out by Ricardo and his team, who visit up to 20 houses a day.
We have to come every morning to each house and check the little bag and collect the bag and replace it for a new one. Okay, how we make this trap work? They come in here and the little fan suck them inside. So when that happens, so that they can't come out because the fan keep it inside.
Once these nets are being collected by Ricardo, they are taken to the lab where these two incredible ladies, who cover the whole island, Nelly and Zoila, work hard to identify and record the species of mosquito. The Mosquito Research and Control Unit is lucky to have 2 aircrafts to control the mosquito population through aerial spraying.
It's something that's not been done in the past. As any other control organisation in the Caribbean that has aircraft, or has the ability to apply insecticide from aircraft.
And so far have managed to achieve 80% reduction in the population using this method. Even with such great control methods in place, the fight against chikungunya does not stop here. It is also taking place across the globe in Britain with a revolutionary new technique. Oxford, England. Here, Dr. Derek Nimmer at Oxitec is working vigorously to genetically engineer a male mosquito which cannot breed, so when it mates with a female, the mosquito population will slowly reduce. This mosquito is due to be released in Grand Cayman later this year.
So at Oxitec we use transgenic technologies, and we have inserted 2 genes into Aedes aegypti. One gene is a gene that causes the offspring to die, and another gene is a marker. Now this marker we can use in several different ways. One is it allows us to see in the insects that we've injected whether the gene has inserted into the genome, and we can see it down the specialist microscope.
If the mosquito glows a fluorescent colour, it means that the gene has been inserted correctly. This marker is also useful for monitoring the mosquitoes out in the field, where they can tell which mosquitoes have been altered by catching them and looking to see if they glow under the microscope.
And also in the field, where we can track and trace the insects in the field, we can actually monitor how well a control program is going by the percentage fluorescence in offspring that we get back from the field.
The research Oxitec is doing is vital, as methods such as fogging cannot permanently prevent the spread of the disease.
The best control that people have been able to show is about 30% for Aedes aegypti. So none of these other technologies are currently working. So they're looking for new tools, something that can work, that can actually sort of control this mosquito, but not only sort of control it, but control it long term. So the really exciting thing about Oxitec is we've got a technology that can work now. It can be applied now, and it can be used to make a difference now.
This work in Oxford is vital for the Caribbean and can hopefully offer the Cayman Islands a whole new dawn.
One of the advantages of the genetically modified technique is that you're using the mosquitoes themselves to hunt out other mosquitoes. So you're using the males to go and find the females, rather than us going to find them or to find the breeding sites or whatever. That's one of the big advantages.
This disease has already spread so rapidly that new work for controlling the mosquito population is vital. The disease has not been here long and is already having a detrimental effect to the Caribbean.
The disease is now endemic in many Caribbean countries. The controllers, Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus in the Cayman Islands, it's not going to affect the spread of chikungunya up into North America or down into South America.
For people like Ariana, it is vital that this work continues.
The work that MRCU is doing is great at keeping the mosquito population down. It's important that we educate people on the disease and help prevent its spread. I'm still trying to rebuild my life after the effects of the disease, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone.